What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Now, as you can see, compared to last year, I changed the layout a little bit for the podcast. I'm not trying to be the rambler that I was last year. I wanted to get it more organized and have a clear layout and vision of this. So let's get started. Alright, so the off season has come and gone, and a few changes has taken place. So we have a new coaching staff, which is Mike Budenholzer's coaching staff from Atlanta. The offense is looking really good right now. The defense, you can see glimpses of the defense coming in that Budenholzer has set in place. But I feel like as the season goes on, defense should sharpen up a lot more. It's like you have to get the defense into game situations to get it fully down. You know, because like you can practice against yourselves all the time, but you're playing against yourselves. Like you're gonna start to figure out what your habits are as a team when you play against yourself, and that's not gonna help you against another team. So as the season goes on, they can get everything tightened up on defense and get that situated. But right now, the Bucks are 2-0 at the start of the season. First game was a little scary against the Charlotte Hornets. I think we were up by at most 23 points in that game, or 20 points at the most. And Charlotte came storming back, and we won by 1 point at the end. But let's talk about the new, things that's new with the team. Like I already spoke about the coaching staff a little bit, but we're gonna talk about the new players that we got. So Brook Lopez is a Milwaukee Buck. He's a starting center right now, and he's already an upgrade at the center position for the Bucks. Now, just hear these stats through the first two games. All right, tell me you're not surprised by it. 11 points, 1.5 assists, and 3 rebounds. I'll let that sink into you. 3. Now, that might not seem like anything special, but if you watch the games, you will notice that his impact on rebounding is bigger than actually grabbing rebounds. Now, Brook, he's a big body center, and he's really good at boxing out. So he's not directly benefiting from boxing out. It's other players on the team that's benefiting. Now, the biggest beneficiary of that is Giannis, because through the first through the first 2 games, Giannis is averaging 16.5 rebounds. The first game, he almost had a 20-20 game, so he only had 18 rebounds in that first game, and then he had 15 in the second game. Now, I don't expect Giannis to continue having above 15 rebounds a game this season. I mean, he might have some games where he's getting rebounds at the same clip, but I expect him to probably cap out around 12 or 13 rebounds a game. I mean, that's just me, because I feel like after a while, other people are going to get involved in the rebounding also. Second new player, Dante D Vincenzo. Now, just like Brook Lopez, his contributions don't really show up on the stat sheet. So Dante's averaging 8 points a game, which isn't a lot, but I mean, he's a rookie, so I mean, you don't expect him to just come out and just ball out. But what's popping out more so than anything on the offensive end is his defense. Now, you don't see a lot of players who are not hitting shots or who's not a big part of the offense pride themselves on defense. Because like Dante, if you watch the games, he's actually a good on-ball defender. Like, he's not getting steals or blocks. He did have one block in the last game, but he's not like constantly getting steals or blocks. Like, it's not going to show up on the stat sheets what he does. But as an on-ball defender, he's good at fighting through screens. If he gets caught up on a pick, his pursuit defense to get right back at the shooter in time to contest the shot is actually really good. And he does it all without fouling. So, what I see from Dante is the fact that being able to be out there and not foul while playing really good defense, he's actually better than I thought at running the point position, because they do have him handle the ball a little bit, and I see him playing himself to more minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised towards the end of the season if he's actually in the game at the end of the game, closing them out with the starters. Now, Ersan, there's not too much I can say about Ersan, because Ersan is Ersan. Like, he's been with the Bucks twice before, and coming back now, he doesn't have as big of a role because he's not a starter. He's coming off the bench, but it's kind of the same. Like, he's a 3-point threat where other teams have to pay attention to him. Like, you can't leave Ersan by himself. Like, he's not a knockdown shooter, but if you leave him open, he will knock down a shot. So it's making the defense stay honest. He's one of our many 3-point shooters that we have on the team right now. And also, his rebounding is underrated. Like, he's not averaging a lot of rebounds, but in the paint, he's quick off his feet to get the tap in. Like, it's subtle, but it's there. And something else that's also new, we let Jabari Parker walk. Now, I kind of wanted the Bucks to re-sign him, but at the end of the day, I was like, it's whatever. Like, if he doesn't want to be here, I respect that. Let him go. Cause like I didn't want to pay him that much money that he wanted to actually stay here, but it's all good. He's in Chicago now, his hometown, so I'm happy for him. Now, with him leaving, I thought the Bucks offense was going to be a little more stagnant. Like, they weren't going to be scoring as many points as they are right now. So that brings me to the next topic, which is the coaching. As I mentioned earlier, we have new coaches, and they're not afraid of having the Bucks shoot threes. Now, through the first two games, I say through the first two games, like, it's been a lot of games, but the first two games has shown a lot. Like, in the preseason, the Bucks shot a lot of 3-point shots, and I was kind of wondering if that was on carryover to the regular season, and through the first two games, it has. So, through the first two games, the Bucks are 10th in points. I think they're at 115 points per game right now. Through the first two games, that is. They're 4th in 3-pointers made, which is really good. So they're making 15.5 3-pointers a game. And they're 3rd in 3-pointers attempted at 40. So that's like, okay, so in comparison, Charlotte is number 1 in 3-pointers per game, but they're like number 6 in 3-pointers attempted, which is really good. Like, their percentage 3-point wise is really good. So other than that, the Bucks are becoming a 3-point shooting team, but at this point, I wouldn't get things too twisted though, because the Bucks are still really good at scoring in the paint. Like, last year, they were number 1 in the league in points in the paint. And this year, like, they're not number 1 because the first two games of the season are typically inflated for a lot of teams. Like New Orleans Pelicans, they're at like 70-something points in the paint, but they're averaging like 130-some points a game. So it's like, I feel like that's going to come down to earth a little bit. And when that does, the Bucks right now sitting at 55 points per game in the paint should be more than fourth where it is right now. But at fourth, that still is pretty good, and that means that the Bucks are taking less of those low percentage contested 2-point shots, and they're kind of like spreading it between the 3-point or in the paint. And like when you look at the spreadsheet, like the shot chart, like it just looks amazing because it's like you don't see too many in that mid range area, that low percentage area where it's easily contested. And so, I mean, with all this being said, I feel like the Bucks can surprise a lot of teams. Like when I say surprise, I don't mean like the Bucks are like a bad team and they're gonna surprise a lot of teams by winning a lot of games, because they've already accomplished winning a lot of games. Well, a lot of games as 42 games, 43 games. What was it? Last season. I'm saying surprise as in people think the Bucks are a top 4 team already, but I feel like if the Bucks can get their defense situated and they can continue improving on their offense, because like their offense at times still get a little stagnant when Giannis is out there making costly mistakes. Well, I wouldn't say costly mistakes. He's turned the ball over. I think he's averaging 6 or 7 turnovers a game right now, and it's mainly from like offensive fouls where he's running through people or traveling. He's not really like turning the ball over, like giving it up and letting them get a chance to score right away. But if the offense can get into a rhythm more consistently and start the game off from the jump instead of going down in the first quarter and working their way back up throughout the first quarter, I feel like the Bucks, in my opinion, top 2 team in the East. I honestly feel like number 1 team in the East will be Toronto, and the Bucks will be number 2. But yeah, that's just me. I mean, I'm a Bucks fan, so I have high expectations for my team. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this episode. It's short and everything, but I kind of want the layout of my podcast to be a little shorter, just to keep me from rambling, because when I start talking Bucks, I start to talk without a direction. But yeah, so this podcast, I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to name the podcast, but I guess this one will be named What's New. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. This is actually dropping on a Monday, but after this, I'm hoping to drop a podcast every Sunday with the team, like with an update of how the team's doing every Sunday. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the podcast. And until next time, y'all, I'm out. Peace.